ReactJS interviews. In this tutorial, we are building a player selection game. Before we start, let's ensure our environment is up to date. I'm using Node version 18 here, but let's upgrade to the latest LTS version 22 for better performance and security patches. Okay, now let's focus on what's matter for React interviews, building logic. In this tutorial, we will start by initializing our app with white. So you can in terminal you can write npm create white @ latest and your project name, then ---- template. I choose React. So here I proceed with Y, and you can select React, and for variant I will go with JavaScript. And this is your project folder, so navigate to your player game, and then after install all the dependencies by the npm install. Here all the dependencies is installing. White is a light version, and if you're using npx, then you can also go with npx version. And yeah, this is the project structure. And then after, first run npm run dev. So in this localhost port you can check your project or React project, and this is the app.jsx file, and I remove the unnecessary this logos and all the HTML's file. Here first I focused only on the logic part, and after that enhancing the UI. So first I will write a start in P for checking my React is working fine after saving. So yeah, this is one div where I take a input type text, and this is the input field where the user can type the player name, and this is the button where after clicking the button player name is added and it displays here. This is the divs where all the selected players name is display. Heading is selected player, and after that I take a div and I take another div. No, this one is P, where I simply check or display the player name. And inside span I take two buttons, one for add and one for remove. Add one is like when the after selected player it added to the final list. So this part is select player section, and this another part is final player. Here player playing in team, and then after I can write comment for this section, final players section, and after h3 I take a div. Inside div I display the player name. Now you can check the UI. Now I remove this useState, and in place of this useState I take, but before I remove this unnecessary CSS file, and then after now I can use state where I take const and array of useState. So first one is the selected player. This variable hold the values, and second one is the function from which the value is set, and useState is type of array, and the second one is for final player. name the change here camel case, and I want to displace all the player name which is selected. So for that I gonna loop through. So for looping I used map, and first argument I got the each player name, and second one is the index. So this div is goes inside this map part. Now you can if I write some static player name, then these players name will be displayed here, but okay, change the player, but the Sachin and Dhoni, these names are not displayed in the selected player, because here I use the braces. To remove braces and use bracket. Now Sachin and Dhoni are displayed here, and same thing I will do for the final player. When I hit the add button from the selected one, then this use state for the final player is filled, and all the player names is displayed here. Here again I take some dummy data. Inside braces use player. Now it's part for the logic creation, like when the input is filled or typed, then it displays. So for that first I take another use state, like for two-way binding. So for that, on here first in value I pass the val, and for on change event I trigger a function where I pass the e, and this is the extra braces here. Okay, now it's working fine, and now it's in time to make function. First one is the change handler, and simply here I set in use state, I set the input values which the user has typed. So here two-way binding is achieved, and the second one is add player. This method or this function is triggered when after typing in input field, when the user click on buttons. First I check if the value is not empty or they have some length. So in set selected player I set the previous values as well as the new one, and after this input field will be empty. I think there is some error here, you can check. So for each div I initialized keys here idx, and therefore also for the final player. Now it's working fine. Here you need to add the add player method. Okay, if you type or hit add player button, then the things is displayed in selected player section. Now you can remove this dummy data. So I think 60% is achieved, 60 to 70% is achieved for your logic. Next one is for the selected. When the selected player is available, then from selected player list you can filter your final player. So for that I make another function add to plane, and here from the argument I get each player name where the buttons is hit. So for that first I checked is their player is present, Then in set final player, I add previous previous player as well as the new player. So here in add button on click event, I pass this method and player I get from the map. Now you can check here. Player name is also visible on in final playlist. Similar for the remove. So for remove, first I initialize the function const remove from playing, and after that first I check which player I had removed is not equal. So for that I used the filter method. From the selected player I filtered each player which is not equal player which I passed. So I get the value, and similar for the final player. Again do filter on final player and traverse each player and check the equality, and after that set in useState, in set selected player I set all the updated selected players, and in set final player similar for the updated final player. Now here you can check according to the interviewer your logic is completed, but here I need add some changes, like I don't display this selected player and player playing in team sections. So for that I check selected player length. If greater than 0, then these divs will be displayed, otherwise it will not display. Similar for the final. So above these div inside the braces I check the final player length has greater than 0, then all these divs will be displayed. So yes, now it's a nice and clean view. After adding player you can check the selected player as well as the final one. Now it's working fine, and yeah, if you want to make some UI enhancement, then you will stick with me for the UI part. Here I will go with the UI part. For that first here I make another div and name class I use container here, and for this div I remain put as it is, and for selected player class name be selected player I use two classes, selected player and card shadows, and this whole selected player map will be used inside another div player grid here. Okay, and some indentations, and this for also here I used final player class name, and for this div I used player card. Similar for above one, here I can use. Now it's for the CSS part. For CSS whole body should be in centered. Okay, for that first I use font family, then background is like some grayish one, and display I used flex here, CSS property justify content center, ally item center, and height be 100 VH, which is occupied by whole screen of the website or web page. And then for the container I used here again display as a flex direction as a column, and padding be 20 pixel, border radius is 12 pixel, and box shadow here 0, then 4 pixel, 10 pixel, top left right, and RGBA is 0.1, like some grayish one. Here you can check the container. Our UI is enhancing little by little. Now input field, for the width I use 80% of the container, padding B 8 pixel, margin bottom, and then border like 2 pixel solid, some grayish one, border radius 6 pixel, font size is 14 pixel. And then after button part, background color, and then for color, text color should be white. Border, I don't want border, so here I used border B none, and padding B 18 pixel top to bottom, and left to right 14 pixel. Border radius 6 pixel, cursor be pointer, font size is 15, not 14, yeah, 12 pixel. Okay, fine. And margin be 5 pixel, and some animation. For that I use transition here. Second one, when I hover the button, I think width 60, 70, I think 80 is enough for me. Now when we hover on button, I make some color change. So for background color I use this one, and when the button is not hovered, so for that I use 7pff. Okay, now you can check the hover effect. For the selected player, here the CSS part is like I want display the flex. First I show the input text field and then selected player. So display flex direction column, gap B 4 pixel, align item I used start here. Width I take 600 pixel. Okay, max height 800 pixel, and overflow Y is O2. Padding right is 5 pixel. Okay, next part is player grid. For player grid, display as a grid template I used repeat 2 then 1 FR, and cap P 10 pixel, overflow Y auto, similar for above one. Next height I want 280 pixel, means when the div height is above 280 pixel then this scrollable bar is visible. And then after width be WebKit fill, I want to text will be occupied whole div. So next one, but for H3 I want as in center, so align atom, align self as a center. I add another player, yeah, you can check here. This grid effect is visible for the selected player. Next one is the final player. So design CSS part for the final player, display flex again, flex direction is the column, width inherit, max height 150. Okay, and this one is the overflow Y auto again, padding right is 5 pixel. And for the next part is what? Yes, if I add this one, here you can check the scrollable bar. Now fine, move our next part for the scrollable. So selected player as a WebKit scrollable, and the final player I want width as a 6 pixel, and for thumb, next one is for thumb, selected player WebKit scrollable bar thumb, and similar for the final player. So for that background I used CC. Okay, and border radius is 10 pixel, and I also want some change color when I hover on the scrollable bar. So this gives me a hover effect. on this scroll bar. Now you can check here. Second part or next part be player card. So for player card, background p hash f9 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 and padding 10 pixel, border radius 8 pixel, text align center and border be 1 pixel solid, and RGB 233, 232 and 232. Next for, I think I can go with which part, what is the remaining one. This style S3 inside the div, so for that border bottom and padding bottom, border bottom and margin bottom. If I remove this one, okay, I think for current time being I'll leave as it is. And next one is for P section paragraph, color B has 22. Okay, and style the CSS for the remaining divs inside the divs. For the background color, padding and margin be 10 pixel, border radius, display be flex, justify content space between and align item center. I think something is missing for me, because for the selected player I want it shows outside from the container. So first for time being I comment this one, and for buttons padding is 6 pixel and 10 pixel. Okay, and card shadow, here I box shadow use 2 pixel, 10 pixel and RGB is 000 0.1 alpha, for alpha 0.1. Okay, I think there is some missed one. If I this selected player, the size B, here I missed the width size container. Yeah, for container I use 400 pixel, and for this comment section if I remove this comment then it's working fine. Now you can check the UI enhancement and your logic is also working fine. So for more videos please like and subscribe, and I will make more videos related to the ReactJS interviews. Thank you.